Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I am the founder and CEO of Senior Savvy, and you can find me right here every Tuesday talking with people who are engaged in technology as it impacts senior living. We have a great guest for you today, and before I bring her on, let's go ahead and run our intro. I'd like to go ahead and invite my guest on today. We have Olivia Duke. She is the marketing director at caring.com. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Olivia.
Hi, Abbie. Thanks so much for having me here today. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. I'm really thrilled that you're here too, because I know the power of the search is huge. And I think for, many people who are in senior living, you might be receiving calls, you might be receiving inquiries, and then you may not be, right? And so we really want to make sure that our communities are getting the traffic and the views and the people to the community that they need. So let's go ahead and talk about the digital search. Let's break it down first and talk about the search, because typically, if we're thinking of an adult daughter who is helping their family, helping her parents move, what's the first thing that she's going to do?
Absolutely. And, I've spent my career in digital marketing, specifically search marketing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love about the concept of search marketing and the search is they're telling you exactly what they want. That keyword or that search, it's raising your hand and it's saying, I'm looking for your services. I'm interested. I'm a potential customer, a potential resident in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we have a lot of great data on the types of consumers that are looking online for search. And as you mentioned, the adult child makes up the majority of these searches. But there's also, the spouses make up a good percentage, the seniors themselves, and other relatives like, nieces or nephews or even grandchildren. They're going online to search for options to really learn what's out there. It's the start of that process. It's to discover, what options they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a great example of, who's that online searcher is an example I just had in my own life. My aunt, she was looking for a senior living community. And given I work with caring.com, she contacted me. She called me and said, all right, can you help me? I'm looking for a community. Well, my first reaction, I might be biased. Of course, I go to caring.com, but my first reaction is to look online.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm pulling up all these great community options. She's in Richmond where I used to live. So I'm now 5 hours away. I'm kind of looking what's there. I'm looking at all the options. Well, of course, she's seen several of her friends go through this process.
Yeah.
She's seen, she's, lived there for decades, and she's seen several people go through the process herself. So when I come to her with, look at all these options there are, she goes, oh, no. It's either going to be one of these two. And I said, oh, okay, well, let me look at them. And I see, what are their online reviews like? What are their amenities like? And I'm like, wow, these are two great options you have. What do you see as the difference? And she goes, well, one community is where all my church friends move to, and one is where I have, friends from the neighborhood. So I'm like, well, online search can't really help you decide who you want to play cards with, but it can help you discover those options, which when people do not know the options in their area or even what care they need, they're turning to online search to answer those questions.
And so tell us about caring.com, about how caring.com fills that place when that gives you the details, for instance, in regards to what someone is looking for.
Absolutely. And that's really what we're trying to do is help inform and educate the person who's just starting that search and might not be sure of what they're looking for. So one thing we see in the senior living space is over 2/3, 67% of searches are generic, meaning they don't have a brand name or a specific community name in the
Mhm.
search. It's something very general. So for example, here we have assisted living is a very common search.
Mhm.
Well, what they're going to encounter, with that is they're looking for places where they can kind of find all of the information related to that. And so in that space is where caring really shines, because we have not just caring.com, but we have several assets that are geared towards educating that early consumer, providing them all the information up front, aggregating their options for them so that they can discover, the communities in their area that best support their needs. So here in the search for assisted living, looking at the next image, you see 4 out of the top 6 results are caring operated assets. So you do see that getting, if you want to get in front of these people at a very early search, caring is reaching them and helping them form that consideration set as they look for communities.
Okay, so I'm looking at this for the first time. If we can go back to that slide, let's just go take another look at it. So I see that you typed in assisted living, and that hopefully the computer is going to know that what your location is. And then from there, the first 3 responses, I do see caring as the second one. What's the first one there?
So Caring is not just caring.com. We're actually a whole portfolio of websites and resources to help seniors. And so each of the websites that we operate, it's geared towards a different segment of information. So a good example here is Paying for Senior Care. That's going to focus more on the financing to pay for assisted living, or if they're eligible for VA benefits, that can kind of help them navigate their options there. But of course, we have, assistedliving.org is geared towards the assisted living space. Of course, very relevant to this search. Caring.com has options as well. But just goes to show the amount of, reach we capture in our audience.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's much more than just caring.com, right?
Exactly.
And I want to ask you, what of the other assets are very popular, widely used?
So they all cater to a specific audience. So again, while caring.com encompasses kind of a broader interest group of the people that might not know they're specifically looking for assisted living, or maybe they have great options for paying for senior care. They're all, popular, well-used resources to kind of help educate and inform that consumer early in their search.
And if you're a senior living community, because the majority of our audience are senior living operators, why is it important to align with caring.com?
Absolutely. It is reaching that person early in their search. So, while they may encounter you some way or another, getting that early search and that early interest is key. And the idea of these consumers want all the options laid out, in front of them. Just think about how you look for a hotel. Maybe you're planning a big trip this summer. Where are you going to go? You're probably looking at Expedia, hotels.com, TripAdvisor. And what you're going to look at is you're going to say, okay, I'm going here. Maybe I'm traveling later this summer for a wedding. You're going to look at, okay, what's the proximity to the wedding? What's, does it have the type of room we need? Does it have great reviews? Of course, is something you're going to look at. And so that's just for a weekend stay. Imagine when you're picking something for the rest of your life. You want to see all options there, and you want to see that same type of information to help inform your search.
So as a senior living operator, for instance, you would want to create a profile and list out the amenities and list out the other features as well as the reviews.
Absolutely. And we've done a study recently. This was an independent study, so it wasn't just people who were going to caring.com. It was a group of 1,000 people searching for care of some sort. And we collected information on what information did they find the most helpful when they were looking for a community. And the top 3 things that came up Information on financing and affordability was big. Reviews from independent third parties is huge, specifically reviews from the seniors and their loved ones.
Yeah.
And then the third thing was information about different amenities that would be available to them.
Okay, great. And can you show us what this would look like on one of your websites, please?
Absolutely. So we have an example here, but just to show how that might play out when it comes to a listing in our directory. And again, our directory is showcased on several websites, but here we have a caring.com listing. And, there are a lot of things this community is doing really well. The first thing shown in the next example is they have several photos.
Okay.
So not only do they have this photo of the outside of the building, they have photos of the different apartments that are, available to be lived in. They also have common spaces, the grill space outside. So photos that showcase the community and really give the person viewing the listing the ability to kind of imagine what it would be like to live there. That is really important. And then here in this, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
And then here on this next example, their description, it's really fleshed out. It's showcasing what's unique about the community. They have a full list of their amenities. So really, the more information that is provided can help, again, put people in the shoes of, okay, what would it be like to live here? And then the other thing to call out about this example is they do have several reviews. So they have several reviews and they have great reviews. And that is what has contributed to them earning the Caring Star Award so many years, which helps kind of highlight. But also, again, those reviews are going to give firsthand accounts of what it's like to live there, which is going to help inform the searcher as they consider it as an option.
Awesome. It's so very telling, when you can see this all in one place and you're not losing someone in a click through, right? Yeah. Like if you have a profile and there are no photos there, then your next step as a digital consumer is to go to the website and to leave to go look for something else. But when you have it all in one place, it's, you're able to keep the consumer centered, right?
Exactly. And that is why, aggregators are so preferred by the consumer, is they can find that information in one space. And also it's what allows, in that example, we do rank well because the alternative would be having somebody go to a site, back out, go to the next, back out. And so this experience allows them to really see what options work best for them.
I love it. And thanks for choosing one in Arizona, because that's where I live. And yeah, thank you for doing that. So let's talk about, how caring is different or differs from your competition. I always like to be able to compare things to what other people may know of.
Absolutely. And so, the biggest thing is that reach that we have, the size of our audience and our ability to show in that space is really what allows us to put senior living communities in front of the eyeballs of so many potential residents. So, that is huge. But I think another area where Caring really stands out is our high integrity reviews program. So we spoke about how important reviews are. Well, not only just reviews, but reviews from seniors and their loved ones. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we really hold strongly in how we operate our reviews program. Is we don't allow employees of the community to leave reviews on their listings. And you probably have seen those if you look other places for reviews. Now, of course, a lot of people turn to Google for reviews, but I'm sure you've seen disgruntled employees that have posted Google reviews. And as a senior living community operator, you don't want disgruntled employees being able to leave any sort of a review. And so there's protection there. But also from the consumer, there's protection of, they're getting that unbiased, that firsthand review rather than coming from someone who might have different incentives to leave a review.
What's a good way to elicit reviews?
So we have several ways that we can help our partners request reviews. So different ways that we can kind of send a link and request a review. But one of my favorite tools that we have is actually how to request a review from someone who's not tech savvy. So you probably encounter individuals who live in your communities who you'd love to get their review. They're really positive, uh, resident in the community who would leave a great review, but maybe they're not tech savvy, maybe they're not going online. Caring.com offers a toll-free number where they could call in, and we have a team that's going to collect and record that review. So you're able to capture these digital reviews on your listing from the least digital savvy people that you do business with. So
I love it. It's so simple, right? But we overlook that you could take a phone call and get down a review. It's just brilliant.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important. We have another example I'd love to show of, we showed a community that was doing a great job, but here's a care home that's doing a great job as well. So this care home, it has an occupancy of 6 residents. So, but they're able to capture 8 reviews, and they've done a great job of requesting and soliciting those reviews. A lot of them came through this past year, which is what allowed them to earn the Caring Stars Award. But you see that they're also showcasing great photos of their community. So I don't want anyone to be discouraged by, but that must take a lot of effort. No matter the size of your community, if with a little bit of focus and using the tools you have as a caring partner, can definitely showcase your community on our sites.
So let's talk about being a caring partner. How much is that? What does it entail?
So I definitely encourage everyone to check out partners.caring.com, where we not only have a lot of resources when it comes to getting in touch with these online consumers and converting them into new residents, but you'll also be able to get in touch with our account executives. So depending on the size of your community and depending on the area, that may differ, but we'd love to schedule a demo and talk more about that.
Can you give us a rate at all? A rate range of, say, 300 residents?
Oh, so yes, if it is large, so that's the thing. For our larger communities, we do operate at a pay-per move-in level, and so the great thing about that is you don't take any of that risk up front. So with you don't pay a dime until someone moves into your community, which is a great way to ensure a positive ROI, and it also means that you're not having to kind of pay up front and potentially, have that fallout that you might with other sources.
And when you put together a profile like that, generally who's doing it and how long does it take?
Great question. So we do have a whole team of account managers that can help with that process and assist, but we also have a portal where if there need to be changes made, it can be very self-serve. Also, I talked about all of our websites that we showcase our directory in. You only have to make the edits in one place, and those updates are made across our listings.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. So what is if you have it available, the ROI on using something like this for a larger community?
Absolutely. So really, when we look at ROI for partnering with caring.com, really what we encourage people to do is not look referral to referral, but look at it as a channel. And what you see is that the positive ROI from our referrals usually hits at about month 4 or 5, depending on how you operate your community and what your margins are like. And so we see anywhere from 100% to 500% ROI, just depending on what's your average length of stay for new residents. And so tracking it as a channel and tracking like what's your average length of stay that you're getting from this source is the best way to keep tabs on that ROI and ensure that you're getting great traffic from caring.com. And I think also, just to kind of give another real example, I was just speaking with a care home operator who she had, great experience with caring.com referrals. And I got in touch with her to get a testimonial. And really, she had only operated her website and she hadn't really done much digital marketing, but she wanted to get her name out there. And so she started working with caring.com. Well, not only did she fill her care home, she has a full wait list at this point, made up of caring.com referrals. And so she was successfully able to get her name out there. But I think also just the ability for her to, this is her main source of income. It's a family operated care home, to have that assurance of a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about occupancy, but she joked to me that if I had the time, I would open up a second care home with the number of referrals that she was getting. So the ability to have that assurance, not only of the revenue, but knowing that she would have somebody ready to fill any new room that became available.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I want to shift a little bit and talk about the technology that's inside your platform, because it's Tech Tuesday, right?
Mhm.
So, and where I want to talk about the technology as well as where you see it heading, and what other projects you might be working on that you're excited about.
Absolutely. And I love that question because I think, everyone, you're constantly looking towards the future. So when I think of our technology, I think of all the potential that's there. And so right now, of course, there's a lot of, background into our tech of how people get the results of which listings. And so proximity, reviews, there's a lot that plays into what's showing on individual searches.
Mm-hmm.
But some technology that we're really excited about and we're putting a lot of work towards is just how we can partner with communities to make the, transition as seamless as possible. So, AI is huge right now. And so these conversations that are happening, maybe a community on their website, they have a chat bot. Maybe someone's interacting on caring.com with chat or filling out a form. And, I don't know how you feel about chatting online versus interacting with a human. Exactly. So. And I think what makes or break the experience is how you take that information and you tie it into a really personable conversation. So the more that we can partner with communities and work with communities to make sure that the information we're collecting from potential residents is delivered in a way that they can use and continue the conversation without having to repeat questions, and can take that information and run with it. I think that's a future that we're really excited about.
Yeah, right now the chatbots are rather generic, right?
Right.
And often you don't really get your question answered unless you're pursuing that, or someone has to call you back or get back in touch with you. So yeah, in bringing more body and more ability to those chats is going to be huge.
Exactly. What I always think about, and this was coming from a search background, there has always been automation. PPC, it was about bidding. And the mantra that I was always taught, and I definitely hold as true, is automation is only as good as the information that it's given.
Yeah.
So how are we giving it the right information? Whether that is, passing along, this potential resident has a pet that she'd love to bring along. And so that conversation can be picked up and you don't have to start over constantly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything else or any other images that you want to share with us while we're here?
No, I think that's it from our examples, but I've been very excited to join on today, and I think, if anything, what I'd love for people to take away from this conversation is that there are a lot of people searching and they don't know what they're looking for. One of the most popular searches that we see is nursing homes near me. Now, for those of us in this space, there are not that many people that need a nursing home. They might be thinking assisted living, maybe even memory care, and maybe it's not skilled nursing that they need. And so taking that early search, and that's really what caring.com is all about, is helping point them in the right direction and giving them resources that can help educate them enough so that by the time, we're referring them to your community, we're trying to bring really qualified great potential residents that really match what those communities are offering. So
Awesome.
that's
And are you in every state, in every city?
yes, I we are in every state in the U.S. Haven't expanded to Canada or anywhere yet, but who knows? But yes, every state and large cities. But of course, whether you're large city or rural, we'd love to work with you.
Wonderful. And yeah, I love that idea about knowing what to search for with the right keyword. And in my classes that I teach to residents, we do talk about the search and being able to put in what it is you're looking for and how to dial down so that you get exactly what you're looking for and not a million responses. So I just think that's really, really important. Olivia, how can people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So you're welcome to reach me at oduke@caring.com. I'd love to get in touch. But as I said, partners.caring.com is a great place to look at more resources that we make available to help you, whether or not you partner with Caring. There's great resources on digital marketing and sales. So I encourage you to check it out. And there's a way there to get in contact with our team if you'd like to schedule a demo.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for educating everyone on this wonderful resource and service that you provide. And I will look forward to having you again on Tech Tuesday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abbie.
You're welcome.